you still freeze up, even though you care, even though you know what you have to say is important, even though you know that if you were to say that or contribute, it would really help a few people, even though you know that your message is important, even though you know would be the right thing to do. What's going on here? And by the way, just in case you thought you were alone in this, this is something that affects a lot. Like, you would be shocked to know how many people are affected by this. And it really all comes down to feeling self-conscious. Self-conscious about what though? Well, could be about anything. Could be about, what if what I say is going to sound weird? Or what if they laugh at me? Or being self-conscious about your appearance. What if they judge me about that I am too this and too that and not enough this and not enough that? And in our society, that's not hard to do, because there's plenty of very interesting propaganda out there that will have us believe that we're just not good enough. Think about it. I mean, for example, old people, it's almost like old people are judged as either they're an inconvenience or, oh, ha, ha, look how old they are. Oh, ha, ha. It just make, I don't even have the words. There's just so much reality out there that is so delusional and so hurtful. And it's almost so easy to buy into the propaganda of how we all should be, right? If you were to, for example, the systems, right? Let's just take the system of Hollywood. And then we take the system of politics. And then we take the system of education. And then we take the system of, let's see, what else do we have here? Oh, yes. Let's do that. Religion. And then we take the system of life coaching, right? We take the system of motivational speakers. We take the system of sports, just as an example. If those are the systems we look for, whether I'm good enough or not, we're in big trouble. Because I promise you that every one of those systems will have a different idea of how we should be to be accepted. And so then you wonder why you freeze up, even though you care. Then you wonder why you're afraid to speak up in a boardroom. Then you wonder why you still have fear of speaking. And you wonder why you feel self-conscious around, I don't know, teammates, colleagues, friends, family. So I will, so many conversations I have with my clients, I will often hear underneath the surface, they will walk away from that boardroom meeting very disappointed in themselves, or go to sleep at night feeling so upset because of the I coulda, shoulda, woulda. I could have said this in the boardroom. I could have asked for that promotion. I should have talked to my boss. I should have done more cold calls today. I should all over yourself. And all these days go by, right? Tomorrow is just another day and people don't take action the way they deserve. And they will often, rather than hide in the comfort zone, they will stay small, they will suppress themselves, they will be afraid to, what's going on with that? And again, I want to spotlight, this is so common. And if this is you, please know, this is not a life sentence, but there is a very good reason. There is a very good and healthy reason you are still stuck in this loop. And just let me see if I have any comments. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining me. So if this is something that you are faced with, again, you're an professional, you're smart, you're capable, you have what it takes, it's consciously or subconsciously. You have come so far in your career or in your life. You have bent over backwards to get your degree, to get your education, to get to where you are, only to now play small and hide and be afraid to be seen. Something doesn't add up here, does it? Well, what does add up here? Even though to you, you might beat yourself up over this, and you might know consciously and logically that you should raise your hand and you should ask for that raise and you should go to that job interview and you should show up to networking events, and maybe you should even go more live on YouTube because maybe you are an expert in XYZ and everybody who would hear your voice would benefit from it. Maybe society needs exactly what you have to say, but often it's the fear. So let's just look at the root of this, and then I want to show you how you can be done with this for once and for all, okay? First of all, underneath that, there's a couple of layers, okay? But underneath this idea of I freeze up even though I care, I freeze up even though I know I should contribute. What's going on is underneath that, okay, is actually fear. Fear of humiliation, fear of rejection, fear of, oh, what are they gonna think of me? Oh, what if they don't like me? What if they think I am too old? What if they think I don't have enough Botox? Well, I mean, which, by the way, that's just, again, that's just another propaganda, right? In this day and age, it's all about appearances and status and prestige and how much Botox. And if you do it, bad. If you don't do it, also bad. So what's the right? Which, again, who cares what my opinion is? It's just not for me. It's no matter how people are going to judge me, how old I am. I don't care. It's irrelevant to me because there are some things in my life that are so important, and I'm not going to let myself get distracted by what people expect of me as far as my appearance is concerned. And right, and because remember, every system will have different expectations of who you should be and how you should be and what's approved of and what's not. So again, underneath all of this is really just fear. Fear of, what if I say the wrong thing? What if they reject me? What if I'm not liked? What if I get a bad grade? What if people talk behind my back? What if I fall down on stage and I ridicule myself, right? So that's typically underneath that. There's that fear. And not that the fear is good or bad, but we want to recognize what is really driving this behavior. But now let's go deeper. And this is where the most important part about this video is, yes, there is fear. And often that fear is linked to shame because, and here comes the good part, because what's going on is, first of all, this being afraid to be seen, or being afraid to go public, or speaking up wherever in the boardroom. This behavior is actually controlled by your subconscious. And this is where it gets tricky, because so often people will try to fix this consciously, with logic, with willpower. I have to do better. I have to be more motivated. I need to push myself more. I need a kick in the butt. I need to hire a coach so that the coach can give me a really good pep talk and a nice motivational speech, and then I will do it. And by the way, those things are just band-aids. Yes, they might work temporarily, and you might even take the tranquilizer, and you might do these breathing techniques and visualizations and meditations and all of that. And quite frankly, it's a joke, because that does not take care of the root cause of what's really going on here. You see, this is what people don't understand, and then they get disappointed why their meditation didn't work, and why the visualization, and why, trending word, manifestation didn't work. It can't work, because there is something. Imagine, okay, let's take the analogy. We have a lawn, right? And we just keep cutting the grass. Okay, so fine. From the outside or distance, everything looks good. But when you look closer, you can see that there's a couple of weeds here and there. And so the right thing to do would be to pull the weeds out by the roots so that they can't keep spreading. But of course, nobody explains that to us. And instead, what do? We just keep cutting the grass. So we take these band-aid approaches, and temporarily things look really good, but the weeds are still there. And that's what we have to get interested and invested in, because somebody like this, what happened to you is actually There's an old story, an old memory where you might have been a child and you were just so happy and full of life, and you were so proud to show your painting or to say something or to, sing really loud in church, whatever it might be. But in that exact moment is when somebody might have said to you, "You're too loud, you're weird, what's wrong with you? Don't embarrass us, you're too much. Oh, I can't take you. Oh, you're just impossible." Right? Or something like that. Or maybe it could have been anything. Maybe you did raise your hand in a classroom and the teacher yelled at you because you said the wrong thing. Or maybe you were bullied by the bully because you were wearing the wrong clothes, if you know what I mean. And so often, right, a small event, which of course wasn't so small because it hurt so much. In that moment, it hurt so much to be ridiculed, to be humiliated, to be hurt by other people, right? To be judged and criticized and blamed and shamed and the digs, right? Of course it hurt, but when we're a child, that is often when those experiences, we draw conclusions, not logical conclusions, but emotional conclusions. In the moment, they happen within a split second. And in that moment, we might have concluded, "Oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, I shouldn't be this way. I am too much for my parents. Oh, I should be more refined. I should be more quiet." And so what happens? You start to literally suppress so many parts of you because you learned from the people around you what an inconvenience you are, and that you're too much, and that you're right, or you're too emotional, or you're too hysterical, or you're too much like a girl, or not enough like a girl, whatever. And so it's your subconscious then, right? That program, that belief that, "Oh, I shouldn't be this way. I should be that way. Okay, now I'm going to try to be." And that's when you started to wear the mask. And at the same time, you learned to suppress you, the real you. Because you learned being you was not okay. And in a convoluted way, though, you concluded, "I am not good enough. There's something wrong with me. I am flawed. I shouldn't be this way." And your subconscious holds on to that story. And this story then becomes a survival pattern, because anytime you are now, God forbid, in public again, speaking, or in the boardroom wanting to raise your hand, your subconscious will swoop in and say, "We can't do that. Remember, survival program, you need to be quiet. You're too much. You're too emotional. You should," right? And so this is where the subconscious pulls us right back down to that old story where we made the belief, "I am not worthy," or "I am not good enough," or "I am broken," or "there's something wrong with me," or "I am a chubby kid," or something like that. And that pain is still there too. So this is at the core what's happening. And a lot of people don't realize consciously that they're still carrying so many of these programs along with them in adulthood that is causing them so much pain and suffering, that is causing them the fear of speaking, that is causing them not being as assertive as they should be, as they want to be, right? And instead of, and this also will create the perfect people pleaser. Those people that just want to please everybody, and they will bend over backwards to just try to do the right thing for everybody, but of course never learned to take care of their own needs, never learned to have boundaries and say, "You know what? No, I'm not going to be spoken to like that, not with me." Because they didn't have, they didn't learn that as a child, that you do deserve to have needs and wants, and you absolutely have every right to assert yourself and to defend your team gets bruised, and the self-confidence, right? And the self-worth. And often these things are so deeply rooted, A lot of people don't know this and then try all these techniques to override this. But the truth is, if really, we just got to work with the subconscious to help change that program, so that when you get to speak and do a presentation or raise your hand in the boardroom, you can actually feel excited, and you can feel the passion, and you can share that care that you have inside of you with everybody else who's there, and they will feel it. And you can finally do it unapologetically, with being all in, knowing that, yes, of course, there are going to be some people who are going to align with me. Some people are not going to align with me. That's none of my business. That's not my problem. My problem is to know what is my North Star, what are my goals in my life, and stay focused on that. Otherwise, everything becomes just such a distraction, and you will lose the focus again. Just like when we were children, right? Unfortunately, you learned early on it was not okay to be you. You had to conform and become a puppet or a robot of some sort. And so, yeah, what do you think will happen with that? Excuse me. And this is where this deeply rooted fear comes in. That then an adult will learn to basically tiptoe around life and always look, oh, do they like me? Do they not like me? Am I being approved of here? Am I not? What are they going to think of me? What if they don't like me? It just creates so much stress. And this is what causes people to stay in that fight, flight, freeze state instead of getting into the flow state, which is the other F here, right? That is, of course, important. And the more or the faster you can learn how to break free of this subconscious program and replace it with something that will work better for you, it will haunt you. This is not fun, but remember, it doesn't take decades of therapy, okay? I just want to remind you about that too, because people typically come to me as a last resort, and the same sob story I will hear is, I've already done all this therapy. I have read all the books. I've done self-development courses. I have done the self-help groups. These people have worked so hard only to find out that those things didn't work as powerfully as they wanted. Because chances are you've tried to fix this, not you, but you were given an approach that only works with the logic, that only works with the conscious mind. And there's a huge part we're missing. Consider math, science. 5% of your life is controlled by your conscious mind. That leaves 95% to the subconscious. And if we don't make the change there, how do you expect to have permanent change? It cannot happen. So I hope this was helpful today. And please, again, I've heard it all before. Oh, maybe I'm just shy. Maybe I'm just not ready yet. Maybe I just don't have the information yet. Maybe I'm not, I'm not an expert enough yet. And those are really just excuses that have allowed you to stay in this sort of defeated position, right? That have allowed you to stay small. And you don't have to stay there if you don't want to. You get to finally fully live your life and express yourself and be the full version of who you really are. And when my clients say to me, oh, can you help me become the best version of me? What does that imply? That implies to me that you have already judged, criticized, berated, and shamed yourself to the moon and back all these years, thinking that somehow you're not the best version of you. And there's nothing wrong with you, but chances are you're probably not the full version of you yet, because you have learned to suppress so many parts of you that deserve the spotlight, that deserve to be seen, that deserve to be celebrated. Not by everybody, but you will find your tribe. The more authentically you can show up, the more you can be the real you, the faster you're going to find those people who absolutely are going to be devoted and dedicated to you, love you. That's unconditional love, by the way. And there are going to be people who find everything wrong with you. No problem. You're not for everybody. This is what adulthood is about. You've got to be selective. You have to know your boundaries. You have to know whom to say yes to and whom to say no to. Comes with discernment, right? So I hope this was helpful. Of course, if you want to continue this conversation, in my bio, there's a link. We can, get on the phone and continue. Much love.